Hey everyone, I'm KQZ, and welcome to my complete Elsa Bloodstone guide. For those of you who do not know me, I am a professional player that has played in Ignite, and I peaked at rank 3 in the world. I also recently won a Christmas tournament sponsored by NetEase with a prize pool of $30,000. I got the MVP spot while playing for Krage's team. At the time of recording this, I'm currently ranked 48 in the world in the new season while playing Elsa only, and maintaining a win rate of 100% on. I will be available on my Twitch live to answer any additional questions you might have on how to play Elsa Bloodstone. To begin this guide, I will be explaining in full, complete details her abilities and passive. Note that some things mentioned in the next section will be repeated during the tips and tricks section. Although I do recommend that you stick throughout this part in case you're unaware of some intricacies in her kit. Feel free to go to the timestamp shown on the screen if you do wish to go to the next part. Before all of that, let's talk about how the execution on Elsa Bloodstone should be. Now you have two weapons, one small limp shotgun and one big girthy special shotgun. One that you always have, but the other one, you will need big strokes of movement in order to pull it out. Now what is her gameplay loop? Well, I have a question for you. Have you ever played Freya in the inferior game, Overwatch? If so, then you might have an idea of how her kit works. You are also dashing and shooting, just like Freya does in Overwatch. However, if you're not familiar with Freya that well, that's not a problem. Elsa Bloodstone is actually pretty simple. You're utilizing your dashes for either mobility, or you are setting up for a combo with your Relentless Pursuit for maximum damage. You're gonna be using her right click for guaranteed damage as a starter a lot of the time. Also, the most important part about Elsa, that's weaving. What is weaving? That means you want to weave between your small limp shotgun and your special big large girthy shotgun. The way you do that is, after you shoot with the small limp shotgun, you dash and you shoot with your special big large girthy shotgun. Now that we have an idea of how to play her in fights, this is how your gameplay should look like after you're done with this guide. So miserable to play into some of these circles.
Hope they don't delete that character from the game. Oh. Fucking reload nerf, really?
Now let's get to her kit. Primary fire, double barrel blaster. Elsa's shotgun contains 8 shots. When her primary fire is pressed, 2 shots are fired in quick succession, being able to shoot a total of 4 times before reloading. Each shot contains 10 pellets. When there is no damage fall off, each pellet deals 9 damage for a total of 90 or 180 damage, depending on if you landed body shots or headshots, assuming that everything has landed. As for her secondary fire, living bullet. Elsa's secondary fire sends out a projectile that, after impact, auto-locks on any target close to where it landed. Said projectile will be activated after landing on any surface. This includes the ground, walls, ceilings, character models and entities, such as Groot walls and others. This ability applies a little icon on top of enemies. This icon, when consumed with her primary fire, gives Elsa a speed boost for a short amount of time of 20%. Second primary fire, Monster Piercer. After using either her dash, her pursuit or her follow-up, Elsa gains access to a second primary fire, which happens to be a second shotgun, the Monster Piercer. This is a single bullet gun that shoots 5 pellets, and each of the pellets deals 15 plus 1.2% of the enemy's current max health. It pierces through every target. Elsa has 6 seconds to use the gun before swapping back to her double barrel blaster. Note that again, the gun does the same amount of damage no matter how many targets it pierces. Passive ability, Inherited Instinct. Now for Elsa's passive, Elsa has 3 yellow bars below her health bar. This is her passive. Whenever she deals damage, she gets a small amount of progress on the bar. Whenever she contributes to an elimination, an entire bar is given. If Elsa eliminates someone while they are trapped, 2 bars are given instead of 1. This passive reduces your dash cooldown by 2 seconds for every meter you gain, making your dash have a 2-second cooldown at max level. When you die, you only lose 1 meter. However, if you swap your character, you will lose all your progress. Helix Advance, Dash. Elsa has an ability called Helix Advance, which we will refer to as her dash. This ability allows her to dash in any horizontal direction. Note that it is not needed to be looking at said direction. Your character will dash in the direction you are headed to. This ability's cooldown reduces according to her passive, and gives her access to her Monster Piercer after its usage. Ruthless Pursuit. Since this ability could also be called a dash, we will refer to it as her pursuit. Thanks to this ability, Elsa can dash in any direction, both vertically and horizontally depending on where you are looking. Dashing onto an enemy launches them both in the direction of the dash and upward. Elsa then gains access to her follow-up option. This ability, which is on a 5-second timer, allows Elsa to shoot a double barrel blaster shot in any direction and then be launched in the opposite direction. This has an exception. If you are facing the sky while using the ability, Elsa will instead shoot it in front of you. Elsa gains access to her Monster Piercer after the usage of both abilities. Smoky Snare. This is her trap. This ability allows Elsa to deploy a trap on the floor. After being deployed, this trap is unbreakable and invisible to enemies. Enemies caught by this trap are immobilized for a short amount of time, and are also dealt a small amount of damage. Said enemies can break the trap by shooting the hands in order to break free faster. While an enemy is caught in the trap, Elsa can dash to them. The trapped enemies will have an icon on top of their head, which indicates that killing them now, with the icon on top of their head, gives 2 bars instead of 1 on her passive. Before going into her ultimate, let's talk about her team up, which is unlocked when she plays with any version of Deadpool. This team up makes it so that her secondary fire now taunts enemies, slows them down by 35%, and heals her for 18 to 24 health after the projectile returns. Note that the health gain is affected by whether you hit a direct hit or if you bounce it off of a surface or an enemy. The direct hit deals 20 less total damage than the bounce, which means you get healed by 6 less health. Now finally, for Elsa's last ability, her ultimate, the Glartrox. During her ultimate, Elsa summons the Glartrox to charge forward. The Glartrox can be recalled to charge back at Elsa, following any path unless it hits a wall. The Glartrox can grab anyone who's not immune to crowd control, including the Thing. For the tips and tricks section, we're gonna start off with her primary fire, the reload. If you manually reload, you reload about half a second faster than letting the game reload for you. Living Bullet. This ability can be used to reveal invisible enemies. If you shoot the ground near someone invisible, it will hit them. Secondary fire. Bouncing it deals the same amount of damage as a direct hit, so you never have to direct hit anyone. Helix Advance. Omnidirectional dash. Get into the habit of dashing in any direction you want without looking in that direction. Instead, try to preemptively aim in accordance to where you are dashing and where the target is. Ruthless Pursuit. Use it for movement. Make yourself hard to hit, while also using it to move around the map. Don't force combos with it. However, If you can punish someone overextending, go for it. You can use it on tanks often. Use the follow-up to B-hop whenever you can. And if you are not in immediate danger, do not use your Helix advance. It will kill your follow-up momentum. And lastly, for follow-up, I personally like making my jump button on scroll wheel to make B-hopping easier. For the trap, place it in common flank angles to prevent flanks. Use it to trap enemies that are chasing you. And you can also place it near your supports and inform them so they can play around it. Ultimate. If you see a big opportunity to use it, go for it. However, I highly recommend using it during support also, or to kidnap a tank to look for a pick. You don't always have to kill 2+ people with it. You can also cancel teleport with the ultimate. For the team up, this one's quite simple. I recommend always bouncing your right click when you have the team up, especially as it deals more damage, a total of 20 more damage, and it heals you for 6 more health. This first combo here is going to be Elsa's bread and butter combo. You're going to be using your knock up 1, you're going to be shooting, knock up 2, shoot again, dash, and shoot a third time. Very easy, very effective, kills up to 300 HP targets. For the second combo here, you are going to be making use of what I like to call a ghost bullet. A ghost bullet is when you use bounce bullet and dash in succession. After which, you are going to shoot first part of your knock up, and then shoot again. This third combo here is very similar to the second combo. However, you're going to be making use of your primary fire. You're going to start off by shooting, ghost bullet, shooting again, and then using your knock up 1 to finish off the kill. And now for long range combos. The first combo starts off with a ghost bullet. Shoot. Knock up 1. Shoot. Shoot. You're going to be using your knockups for mobility rather than setup in longer ranges. The second combo here, very similar to the first one, however, again you are going to be making use of your primary fire. So you're going to shoot, ghost bullet, shoot, knock up 1, and shoot. You are again using your knockups or mobility in longer range combos. This last long range combo that I use is the only one without a ghost bullet in it. You're going to be shooting, knock up 1, shooting again, knock up 2, shooting another time, then you're gonna dash and shoot. It is very similar to her bread and butter combo, however, you are going to be shooting first. For my go-to tank combo, I start off with a ghost dash, shoot, knock up 1, shoot, shoot again, knock up 2, and lastly, one last shot to finish off the kill. Before we get into her playstyle, I want to talk about her ultimate real quick. This is a very integral part of her kit, possibly the strongest part about her kit. Special shout out to Sparkar, by the way, he helped out with some thoughts here and gave me some really nice insights. For her ultimate, you want to have a plan in mind beforehand. Do you want to wait for the enemy team to walk out and then use it to throw them off the map on certain maps, such as Domination Burning T'Challa or Hell's Heaven? Do you want to go early as they're first getting ready to ult and hit them early on? Do you want to go for long ultimates where you pull them back from a very long distance? And are you able to do that depending on their heroes? Do you want to use it defensively to stop an enemy's push? For an example, when they are using a Mantis ult, ready to walk into your team, and you just ult them and you never retract the ult, you push them away from your team. Do you want to hide behind the enemy team and look for a flanking ultimate? The point is, you want to think about what you want it to do beforehand. There is many uses for the ultimate. You want to have a game plan in mind before you use it. Playstyle. Let's get into the most important part. How do you want to play Elsa Bloodstone? Well, in my opinion, Elsa Bloodstone can do it all. From playing as a flank opportunistic diver, to playing front-to-back tank buster, ult spammer, to peeling dives, to marking angles, you will need to be very versatile in your gameplay. I will now be explaining each part of the different things that you can do on Elsa Bloodstone. Your playstyle will change depending on enemy team compositions, by the way. So let's start with front-to-back. If they have heavy dive and daredevil, I tend to stick to my supports in order to be able to help them. When you are peeling, landing the first part of your ruthless pursuit is an integral part of disrupting the enemy dive, preferably on a melee DPS hero, and or a Psylocke or Starlord. Landing it on melee heroes interrupts their cooldown rotation, and landing it on hitscan heroes disorientates their aim, making them miss more shots. That's for front to back against dive. So how do you play front to back versus another front to back comp? In these types of matchups, you will be relying on your ultimate a lot. Farming your ultimate on the tanks and kidnapping the tanks when the opportunity arises will force out enemy support ults, and if done properly and your ultimate does not get broken by the enemy team, you will be able to take the tanks out of any healing range and any support ultimate, which will result in the enemy team completely losing their frontline. Of course, other uses for the ultimate, if the enemy team is very grouped up, you can look for really good ultimates, like on 4 people plus. However, do keep in mind, just landing your ult on a tank or 2 will get you more than enough value to try and win fights with. Let's move on to marking angles. What do I mean by marking angles as a playstyle? This type of playstyle is good into certain heroes, such as Namor or Hela, or Phoenix and Hela. These type of heroes excel at taking angles around the map that they can use to their advantage. As Elsa Bloodstone, you will be able to punish them depending on how close the angle they are taking is. If they are very close, you can engage in close quarter combat and win your duels with Elsa Bloodstone's insane mobility and overhealth. If they are taking further away angles and are being very problematic for your team, you can try and poke them out using your Monster Piercer. You're gonna use your Relentless Pursuit as a movement ability to gain access to angles that you can shoot them from, and you're gonna be using Helix Advance in order to dodge their bullets, gain overhealth, and shoot them to get them off those angles. That's how you mark angles as Elsa Bloodstone. And finally, opportunistic diver / flanker playstyle. What do I mean by opportunistic diver? To me, there's different type of dive heroes. Some heroes that have to dive very often in order to find value, and some that sit at a range and wait for their team to do their part before hitting the enemy backline. Similar to Psylocke, you can stay in the enemy backline until your dive tank hits, and then you can use your secondary fire for guaranteed damage on the backline, and spam your Monster Piercer for piercing damage if the supports are lined up. Or you can use it to burst damage on one singular target that is called out by your fellow diver. That's as far as the diving part goes. So what do you want to do on her if you want to flank? Well, first and foremost, you will need to have 3 bars of your passive. If you do not, you will be at risk of getting chased down by many heroes, including an enemy Elsa, that will have more passive bars than you, resulting in her being much stronger in a duel due to lower cooldown on her dash. What you want to do in this type of playstyle, after getting your passive bars, is simply force the enemies to turn around and look at you. But most importantly, you will be doing your absolute best to stay alive. That is by far the most important thing. You will be kiting enemies. And if you're not familiar with what kiting is, the act of kiting is when you damage an enemy constantly while also keeping a safe distance from them. And you maintain that distance as they try to chase you. With Elsa's very low cooldown on her dash, this is a very accessible playstyle for her. Keeping your distance is a lot easier than other heroes. On this playstyle, you will also be utilizing your trap. Pre-place a trap, and if an enemy really wants to chase you, guide them into that trap. And as they walk into it, blast them with a full combo that will result in either very high damage or a kill. That's all I have to say for her playstyles. So now the question is, which one of these playstyles do I find best? Personally, I enjoy all of them. I do whichever one fits the game I am playing best. And I believe that's what matters at the end of the day. Which one do you enjoy the most? Well, that's up to you to find out. And it's up to you to choose how you want to play Elsa Bloodstone.